Good morning, students. We are starting with another part of consumer behavior, which is demand. Demand is basically made up of three words. First, desire. Second, ability. And third, willingness. So if a person has a wish that he wants to fulfill, along with the ability to pay for that wish and also the willingness, then we say that the person has a demand for a commodity. For example, this kid wishes to get an ice cream, but this is only his desire. For it to be a demand, he should have money and he should also be ready to pay that money. Only then it will be called that this kid demands an ice cream. Specifically in microeconomics, demand has been defined as quantity of a commodity which a consumer is willing to buy at a given price and in a given period of time. These are the topics that we're going to cover in this PPT. Law of demand. Students, as we have done the law of diminishing marginal utility, which forms the basis of consumer behavior, similarly, law of demand forms the basis of demand. Other things remaining the same, this law states that when the price of a commodity falls, demand for the commodity expands, and when the price rises, the demand contracts. So basically, there is inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded of a commodity. When one goes up, the other goes down, and when the first one goes down, the other goes up. So law of demand states the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded of a commodity. Every law is based upon certain assumptions. So the first assumption is the consumer is rational. The second assumption is that there is no change in the price of related goods. We are going to discuss what are related goods in the coming slides. Thirdly, there is no change in the taste and preference of the consumer. Fourthly, there is no change in the population, in the number of consumers. And fifth, there are no changes in expectations about future prices. Students, these are all the other factors that can affect demand. But when we are studying demand as under law of demand, we take all these factors as constant. Only then this law of demand holds valid. As you can see in the demand schedule, the price keeps on falling from 50 to 40 to 30 to 20 to 10, and correspondingly the quantity demanded keeps on increasing from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. When this schedule is plotted on the graph, what we get is the demand curve. Students, as you can see, the demand curve is a downward sloping curve. This downward slope indicates that price and quantity are inversely related to each other. If we wish to increase the quantity, then the price will have to fall, and if we wish to decrease the quantity, then the price will have to rise. There are certain exceptions to the law of demand as well. Let's go through them. The first one is a case of Giffen good. Giffen good, students, is a special category of inferior goods whose demand falls when there is a fall in price and whose demand increases when there is a rise in price. So as you can see, in case of Giffen good, there is a positive relationship between price and quantity demanded, and therefore this is an exception. This happens, students, because when the price of a given good falls, the consumers substitute these goods with the superior goods, superior in terms of quality, maybe design, and therefore the quantity demanded of given good falls. So when price falls, the quantity also falls of given goods. Secondly is the demonstration effect, which means to copy others. In case if the price is increasing and the quantity demanded is also increasing, just because people are copying the acts of others, then you call it demonstration effect. Thirdly, habits and addictions. To all those commodities to whom a person is addicted, in that case also law of demand will not hold valid. For example, students, if a person is a chain smoker, then even if the price rises, he will continue to increase his demand irrespective of the price, because cigarette smoking is his habit. So this is again an exception to the law of demand. Fourthly, all essential goods, goods which do not have any substitute and which have to be consumed in order to live. In those cases also, even if the price increase or decrease, the quantity is not going to change according to price. So in case of medicines, for example, even if the price of medicines increase, the quantity will keep on increasing as per the demand. Next we have an exception is Veblen's effect. Students, when people demand a commodity just in order to maintain a dignity or respect in the society in which they are living, we call it Veblen's effect. They do not care about the price of the commodity. They keep on increasing the demand even if the commodities are available costlier, because they want to maintain their social standards. This effect is Veblen's effect. And then finally, climatic conditions are also posing an exception to law of demand. For example, even if the prices of woolen cloths rise in the winters, people who need it will buy it because of the climatic conditions. Or even if there is no change in the price, people are going to increase the demand of woolen clothes in winters because of climatic conditions. So these are the 6 exceptions to the law of demand. 6 cases where law of demand does not hold valid. The next topic is why the demand curve slopes downwards, or why there is law of demand which states an inverse relationship between price and quantity. So following are the reasons. Number 1, only a downward sloping curve can show inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So if a curve is upward sloping, then it cannot show a negative relationship between price and quantity. Secondly, when price falls, the old buyers buy more quantity and the new buyers also start buying, because if a product becomes cheaper, old buyers, the existing buyers, increase their demand, and the new buyers who were previously not consuming the same commodity will now start buying it. Thirdly, when price falls, people start finding new uses of the commodity. That means people start using the commodity for a number of purposes, and therefore the demand increases. Fourthly, rational consumers reduce the quantity demanded when the price rises in order to equalize price with marginal utility. So in order to be at equilibrium, if the price rises, the marginal utility also has to rise. And for marginal utility to rise, it is necessary that the units consumed should fall. So law of diminishing marginal utility is another reason behind law of demand. And finally, when price falls, it leads to increase in the real income. Consumer can buy more with a given money income. So a change in price makes you richer or poorer. Although your money income is not changing, but your purchasing power of your money keeps on changing. Therefore, when price falls, the purchasing power increases and so is the demand. So these are the 5 reasons behind the operation of law of demand. Next we come to two topics, individual demand and market demand. As the name suggests, individual demand refers to demand or quantity demanded by a specific consumer, an individual consumer, at a given price and in a given period of time. And so the individual demand curve is the one that we have already studied. It is downward sloping. Market demand, on the other hand, students, is the horizontal summation of all individual demands. So if in a particular market we add up the demands of all the consumers, what we get is market demand. So for example, we have 3 consumers with us, A, B and C. We can get market demand by adding up horizontally the quantity demanded by all the 3 consumers. When we plot market demand curve on the graph, we find that it is flatter than individual demand curves. Students, market demand curve is flatter than the individual demand curves on the same notion that it is the horizontal summation of all individual demands. If we horizontally sum up the individual demands, we are going to get a flatter, having less slope of market demand curve. Students, till now we have studied that change in quantity happens because of change in price. However, there are other factors also that can cause demand to change. There are 2 terms in front of you, change in demand and change in quantity demanded. When we say that demand has changed because of price, then the term is called change in quantity demanded. And when demand changes because of other factors like population, income, price of related goods, technology, future expectations, etc., then we call it change in demand. As you can see the graphs below, in case of change in quantity demanded, there is a single demand curve and movement takes place along the same demand curve. In case the quantity decreases, we call it contraction of demand and we move from point A to B. And in case of increase in the quantity demanded, we call it extension or expansion of demand and we move from point A to point C on the same demand curve. In comparison to it, in case of change in demand, the whole demand curve shifts rightwards in case of increase in demand and leftwards in case of decrease in demand. So there is a difference in the notations we use if a change is caused by price or if a change is caused by other factors. So let's see what are the other factors that can cause a change in demand. In the very first point, students, you are given that demand of X commodity dx is a function of PR, which stands for price of related goods, Px, which stands for price of the own good, T for taste and preference, E for expected change in future prices, PO population, Y income and TE technology. Let's understand the impact of all these factors on the demand curve. Starting with income. Students, as far as income is concerned, we can divide goods into 2 categories, normal goods and inferior goods. In case of normal goods, if you increase the income, then the quantity demanded also increases, and if you decrease the income, the quantity also decreases. Mostly all the products that we use are all normal goods. For example, if your income rises, then you might want to purchase a home theater. So the demand for home theater is rising with rise in income. Corresponding to it, there is another category which is inferior goods, which have a negative relation with income. That means if income rises, then you demand less of the inferior goods, because as you can get from the name itself, inferior means of low quality. So when income of a consumer rises, he shifts from a poor quality product to a better quality product, and therefore the demand of inferior goods falls. This will be done in the form of graphs in the coming slides. Second other factor is change in tastes, habits and fashion. Humans have varying preferences and tastes, so accordingly the demand also changes with the change in lifestyle, change in habits and fashion. Next other factor, and the most important, is price of related goods. There are two types of related goods, students: substitute goods and complementary goods. Substitute goods are the goods which can be substituted for each other. For example, tea and coffee are substitutes of each other. If a person wants to have something hot, he can either have tea or have coffee. Both are going to give him same satisfaction. Complementary goods are those goods, students, which cannot be used in comparison to each other, and both of them are dependent upon each other in terms of their demand. For example, car and petrol are not substitutes, but they are complementary goods, because without car, petrol is of no use, and without petrol, car is of no use. So both of them are dependent on each other and complementary in nature. In case of substitute goods, students, when there is increase in the price of one good, there is increase in the quantity of the other good. It is vice versa in case of complementary. What is it? In case of complementary goods, increase in price of one good decreases the demand of the other good. So this is the relation of price of related goods with demand. Population as another factor also affects demand. Simply stated, as population rises, demand increases, and as population falls, demand also falls. And lastly, we have expectation about future prices. Logically, students, just think, if you expect the future prices to rise, you are going to demand more today, because in future the product will become costlier. And vice versa, if you expect the prices to fall in future, you are going to demand less today, because the product is going to become cheaper in the future. So these are the 6 factors affecting demand. Normal goods and inferior goods are explained with the help of graph. As you can see, the whole demand curve is shifting towards right or left, because income is a factor which is affecting demand. Because of increase in income, the demand curve is shifting rightwards, and because of decrease, the demand curve is shifting leftwards. This is the case of normal goods, which have a positive relation with income. That means if income rises, the demand for normal goods will also rise, and if income falls, the demand for normal good is also going to fall. Clearly opposite case of inferior goods. These goods have negative relation with income, stating that if income increases, demand for inferior goods will fall, and vice versa. So as you can see on the graph, there is a leftward shift in the demand curve, which means that there is decrease in demand, and this has happened because of increase in income, showing a negative relationship. So that was about the topics of demand. The next video will be about elasticity of demand.